It's so interesting. Book adaptations have always been a thing. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, but recently I've noticed an influx in books being made into movies and TV shows. The Summer I Turned Pretty. Everyone was sat for that as it was coming out, and now we're just eagerly waiting the movie. Heated rivalry. Juicy. People We Meet on Vacation. We're going to talk all about that today because the movie comes out tomorrow, and I lived a People We Meet on Vacation experience in New Orleans in early December, and I can finally talk all about it. I'm also going to do a movie review. We also have the choreographer from the dance scene coming on today's episode of Plus One, but there is a lot that we need to catch up on. Before we get into the episode, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, please, and thank you. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please hit follow and give us 5 stars. There is a lot of exciting stuff coming up, especially because we are now in award season. So much is gonna be going down. I can't wait. Okay, let's get into it. This movie is the reason I believe in manifestation. Let me tell you why. I started reading the book at the beginning of November because I was like, honestly, I've been feeling dumb. I needed to get off my phone and I needed to start reading. And I felt like, what better way to do it than reading a book that is being adapted into a movie, that is being made into a movie? Hello. So I picked up People We Meet on Vacation. 2 weeks later, I hear from Netflix being like, hey, would you want to come on this trip to New Orleans where you get to pretty much live like Alex and Poppy lived when they traveled to New Orleans, and then watch an early screener of the movie. And they didn't fully disclose everything else that was going down, but spoiler alert, there will be some spoiler alerts here. That's why I waited until the embargo was lifted. I interviewed Emily Bader, Tom Blyth, who are Alex and Poppy. I also interviewed Emily Henry, who is the author of People We Meet on Vacation, and then the director, Brett Haley, who worked on the film. So ended up having the opportunity to speak with all of them. I met a ton of other creators, primarily in book talk. I got to try some Nola staples. So we're going to get into all of that on this episode. People We Meet on Vacation. The movie comes out tomorrow. The movie, which is an adaptation of Emily Henry's book, The OG. I fly out to New Orleans early December. Day one comes. I meet all the other people who were invited by Netflix. We go to dinner at Bayona, I think is what it's called. Everything is like custom handcrafted iron, and all of the restaurants are like 4.5 stars or above. Truly, I look at my phone the second I land and I'm like, where am I gonna go eat? I know that there's good food out here. I think I ended up getting jambalaya the very first day. Immediately as I land, I also go to a coffee shop. Phenomenal. Everything I have, phenomenal. The biscuits. Oh, I forgot about that. I went to a coffee shop and I didn't realize how hungry I was. I ordered a biscuit egg sandwich. That's not what you came for, but I'm gonna tell you, if you've only had biscuits in like California, any place that's not the South, you need to go try biscuits out there. I now understand what people are talking about when they talk about biscuits and like Southern food. And I just went to a random coffee shop, so I'm sure that wasn't even the best. That night, we're good citizens. We don't go out. We go to bed. We wake up, and we are living the life of Poppy and Alex in New Orleans. We are literally walking around New Orleans, getting a history lesson. You're also walking in the streets, and you're hearing so much jazz music everywhere you walk. We go to Café Du Monde and we get beignets, and it was everything I hoped it would be. The powdered sugar was everywhere. I took a bite in Nola. It was so fluffy on the inside and crunchy on the outside, and I understand the hype. We went to get po' boys after. To me, I feel like those might be a little overhyped. Perhaps I ordered the wrong type. I ordered shrimp. I think that's pretty normal. It was good. It was massive. It was just, I don't know. My expectations were so high. We go to the screener for People We Meet on Vacation. I had a hunch that Emily Bader, Tom Blyth, Emily Henry, and Brett Haley might show up. I assumed. I didn't know if more people might join, but I assumed that they would all at least be there. Before it begins, they all walk out on stage. And I do have to say this part, I went to high school with Emily Bader and we did theater together. And I wasn't going to talk about it just because I don't want people thinking I'm like riding her coattails or anything. But she did end up reposting one of the videos that I made with her and Tom. And she was like, reunited. I had a feeling that she was going to be there because she stopped DMing me once I was like, are you going to be in town? I'm going to New Orleans to work on this actually. And she responded to me when I posted that I had been reading the book. She responded to my story. So I was like, oh my God, she is starting to gear up for this movie. Okay. Point being, they then come out. Everyone's freaking out. I'm excited. I'm literally, besides the fact that I know Emily, I just feel giddy about this movie. I love rom-coms. I loved the book, and I understand I finished the book, by the way, the day before watching the movie, so it was so fresh in my brain, and I was so present for this movie, sitting there just being like, okay, I'm very aware of how this book plays out. I'm aware of what may or may not happen in the movie, and if something is left out, I will probably notice. And guess what? Emily Henry and Brett Haley are literally the seats in front of me. It was so funny because I'm like, well, shoot, not that I assumed it'd be bad, but it's one of those moments where I'm like, I can't not react. I have to react to everything in this movie. I have to let them know that they're doing a great job, even if I don't necessarily think that. Luckily, I never had to lie about anything. It wasn't one of those like, oh, forcing laughter out. It was genuinely funny. Also, Emily's Bader's, our Poppy, she has such great body comedy where it was just like, it was really funny to watch. Their chemistry was incredible together. You're sitting there being like, oh my God, I am truly believing this. It feels like Alex and Poppy jumped out of the pages and onto the screen. Okay, I'm going to get into the spoilers right here. Okay, this is your warning. Flash forward a little bit. This is why I waited until the embargo was lifted to post this episode. There were 3 things which I think require a spoiler alert, okay? One of them was a very major change, and this was when we heard a very audible gasp, which, again, we talked about in the interview. So go watch the full interview. I'll try to link it somewhere for you to be able to go just click and watch. But during that major moment, I don't even want to talk about this one because it was just so major. Hearing the way everyone gasped and the way that Emily and Brett looked at each other, they were like giggling. They were laughing at our reaction. I think they were just like so proud. We didn't expect it. And truly, I loved this change because I remember feeling like the book needed a little something. The vasectomy moment, for example. I don't know why, to me, did I notice that it was a huge deal? Absolutely, yeah. But when I went on TikTok, that was like all everyone was talking about was that vasectomy line. I go and watch the movie. Guess what? Here's your spoiler warning. Here's your spoiler warning. Someone literally commented on my video and was like, blink twice if the vasectomy line is still in there. I'm not blinking. The vasectomy moment didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And low key, I felt a little bad for the diehards. I did. The Sarah moment, that's one we loved. Personally, I loved it. I thought it was like just a big deal. And if you're going to change a part of the book, I love that that was it because I think it was like, oh shit, you got me. Even the readers couldn't have predicted that that happened because that is such a big change. And this changes the entire dynamic of the relationship between Alex and Poppy at this point. Whereas in the book, that doesn't fully change the dynamic because it doesn't happen, you know? Okay. So then back to vasectomy. Vasectomy doesn't happen. So we no longer have that to refer to. That's not to say that Alex doesn't have major things in the movie that he does for Poppy to prove himself to her. Even just the way they start the movie by saying how much Alex doesn't like physical touch. He doesn't like holding hands. He's telling Sarah he doesn't hold her hand. And then we finish the movie and we see Alex and Poppy holding hands and getting close. And it comes easily to him. So you see that in the movie in comparison to the book where you have to read it. But I loved picking up on those little moments that they dropped for us. Then there was a third thing, which was, this one's minor, but I picked up on it. And I haven't heard anyone else talk about it. Maybe that's just because the embargo hasn't been lifted and so we can't. But do you remember reading the book? If you read the book, there was something that came up so many times. It was Alex's puppy dog eyes. So much so that in my interview, it was just like a quick rapid fire with Emily and Tom. I had them do Alex's puppy dog eyes because I was like, look, we didn't get this in the movie. Hello, spoiler alert. That was it right there. We didn't get this in the movie. At least I want to see it, or how it would have looked if you guys were able to do it. And I wanted to interview them in a junket just to ask them, was that ever a conversation that you guys had? I wanted to ask Emily Henry about why that was taken out, because in my interview with Emily Henry and Brett, I brought up how they decided to keep and get rid of certain things. Basically, Brett was like, we weren't getting rid of anything that Emily was saying we had to keep. Anytime Emily Henry said, we have to keep this, the readers really care about this, then they kept it. But Emily decided it was okay to get rid of the vasectomy moment, to change the Sarah moment. I agree with that one for sure. But then to get rid of the puppy dog eyes moment. And while I was reading the puppy dog thing in the book, I was honestly thinking it was kind of cringe. But I was like, I really want to see how Tom does the puppy dog eyes. Like, I want to know his version of this. I'm honestly kind of glad that they didn't keep it, although I wish they did it like at least once. And look, maybe they did and we just didn't know, but I expected there to be like a Poppy narration of her being like, there he goes with his Alex puppy dog eyes again. And us, the viewer, being like, it is happening. Or us, the reader, saying, oh my God, it is happening. So that part was also taken out. Aside from that, the cinematography, beautiful. I want to look up who the casting director was that was working on this film, because I want to give them a pat on the back. I want to say, you guys did such a great job. And me being someone who's followed Emily since high school, I've kind of been waiting for her moment to like finally reach mainstream. This is definitely it for her. But like, congratulations to that casting director for picking up on it. I think she perfectly matched Poppy's energy. You even see the difference in her when she's just having a regular conversation versus her when she's playing Poppy, where she's like very calm as Emily, and then as Poppy, she's like definitely a little more jittery, kind of like an ADHD type of a vibe in a character. You know what I mean? Like always paying attention to different things, constantly on the go. She's kind of running from things. She talks about that in the book. So you could see the way these characters transformed. You could see, honestly, there were moments where I was watching the movie and I didn't even like Alex. Even in the book, I kind of felt that way too. But to see it come again, see Alex jump out of the pages onto the screen. Tom Blyth, great job, because there were moments where I was like, you're bothering me. Alex, you're pissing me off. I don't like you. You're being too much. But Tom as a person is so likable. So it's really interesting to see how well they did at matching these characters' energy. And I'm sure a huge part of that has to do Brett Haley. They had a book to refer back to. And then they also had Emily Henry, who was constantly helping them. And I don't know if she was on set. Well, she definitely wasn't on set every single day, but she was there here and there. She was there at times. The junket and the quick videos came the very next day. So after the screener, they take us to the bar where Alex and Poppy have like their dance scene, which funny enough, we have the choreographer who's going to join us in just a little bit. But it was so cool to go there and to see a live jazz band performing. I took videos of them. They were truly just some of the best performers I've ever seen in person. It's one of those things where you're like, wow, they do this for the love of the game. You know what I mean? Like, they are moving in ways that I've never even thought of. They are gyrating and going all over the place. And the music is like nothing I've really ever heard, because I've never been to New Orleans before. I don't really listen to jazz like that. They made me want to start listening to jazz on my Spotify. I'm like, let me add that here for a second, because it was so much fun. Like, I truly get the allure. I've always wanted to travel to New Orleans, but this being the time that I got to go, it was like, it was the perfect opportunity. But on that note, let's talk with Maya Taylor, who was the choreographer for the dancing scene. And funny enough, if you didn't see my rapid fire with Emily Bader and Tom Blyth, they actually said their favorite scene to film was that dancing scene. Emily said because of the blue hair, and then Tom said because of the worm. It was a quick rapid fire, so we didn't fully get into it. But I posted that rapid fire, and then Maya Taylor actually reposted it. And so I go and look at her page, and I'm like, oh my God, wait, this is the choreographer. Because I noticed at the bottom, she's like, check out people we met on vacation, loved working on this film, whatever, something quick. And I DM her and I was like, hey, Maya, did you work on this? Did you choreograph this dance? And she said, I did. I was like, would love to have you on the show for just a quick interview if that's cool. And she said, absolutely. So we ended up speaking. I think you're going to love to hear some of the BTS of what it was like for her to work on that film. Side note, we did also talk about the Iron Claw because she choreographed the wedding dance in the Iron Claw as well. And I was like, this is one of my favorite movies personally. So, like, selfishly, I have to ask about that. You're going to like it. Promise. Guys, I'm so excited for today's guest. We have Maya Taylor joining us, who is an MTV nominated choreographer. She's worked with Kelly Rowland, Rosalia, Solange Knowles, and then a ton of films as well. So The Iron Claw, also People We Meet on Vacation, which is why you're here today to talk with us. I'm so excited to have you on. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's just so sick to see your work finally come to life too, because I know with movies in particular, it's something that you work on so far in advance, which was something that I was thinking about because I was like, at what point do you find out that you have the opportunity and how quickly does it all come together?
So for instance, for People We Meet on Vacation, my agent actually found the project for me because I'm based in New Orleans, but I also
Yeah.
live in Los Angeles as well. Some like for work, and I'm kind of all over the place. And so his name's Steve Gato. He's amazing, and he said, "Maya, there's a project filming in New Orleans. I think you would be great for." And then it kind of happened within, I would say, a few weeks of him connecting me to Isaac, our producer, and with Brett and us having a meeting. And it actually turned out that all of us had worked on this other series called Looking for Alaska back in 2019. But
Nice.
we hadn't all met on set because I worked on different episodes as a choreographer than the one that Brett did directing. So we had that connection, which was wonderful. It's always so nice.
Yeah, that's comforting too to have familiar faces around you.
Yes, yes.
So with Maya in particular, the reason I came across you was because you saw the video that I posted when I filmed with Emily Bader and Tom Blyth, our Alex and Poppy. And it was
Yeah.
super cute because I asked them what their favorite scene was to film, and they both said the dancing scene.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, oh my God, that must be so sick. I then went and saw an interview where someone asked them if those were all their own dance moves or if someone choreographed. They both said right away, nope, someone else choreographed it. It wasn't us who
Oh.
came up with it. But that you guys like worked together on the dance moves. How was that whole
Yeah.
process?
It was incredible. I Brett and I had a few conversations before we even got to the rehearsals about, like, after I read the script and then we had the song and everything like that, kind of talked about what he was dreaming of. And then before the rehearsal, I made a dance, but I wasn't planning on teaching it because we needed that play time, because it's
Yeah.
not I call it like a 5, 6, 7, 8 dance. It's not all of a sudden they're breaking into like a movie musical
Yeah.
moment. It felt like it had to be really natural. And obviously in the movie, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this really helps build the tension. And I was like, yes, this is good, because they're moves that everyone can do, but the way that they took what we created and really made it their own was made me so happy to
Uh-huh.
see, because I'm there to coach them and make sure that they don't have to think too much about the dance, that it can feel as natural as possible. And
Yeah.
so I think we had about 2 to 3 rehearsals in New Orleans, and Brett was there, and we kind of just played around with like what was happening at the beginning of the scene. Then, like, oh, should we try this? Should we try this?
Yeah.
Tom doing the worm thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to try it. I was like, yes.
It was
And then,
so
like
good.
like picking up scene. It was just so much fun to play around and make that dance together and then see it to see it in real life is just incredible.
Yeah, so okay, you're there for the rehearsals. Obviously, you're leading the
Mhm.
rehearsals. And then are you there for actual, I'm going to call it show day, but that's not the right term. Are you there on set?
Technically, it is show day. Yeah,
Right?
yes, I was on set. Yeah, for sure. We had a night shoot the night of that of the filming for the dance scene
Oh.
in New Orleans, and so it was at one of the clubs here,
Yes, I got to
and
go
so
to that club. I loved it. It was so much
you did.
fun. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. It was really fun to film in there and be on Frenchman, like the area that was at filming, because everyone stops by. They're like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Because everything else was still normal New Orleans life
Yeah.
on Frenchman Street the night we were filming. But yeah, so we had the dance already, and then they get into their costumes and or and the wig and have other people around them, so they had to do the dance in front of other people, but we did a rehearsal on set before we started filming, and then did it a bunch of times, and I was on the side hyping them up as much as I could.
Oh, it
So
was so good. It gives me chills whenever I hear stories like this. It's just so fun. And especially, okay, so the fact that it was filmed in New Orleans, which did you say you're
mhm.
originally from there?
No, I
You
actually
just
grew
lived
up
there.
in Omaha, Nebraska, but
Oh,
I've
okay.
been in New Orleans for about 13 years now.
Okay, so to you, that's your home. You know what New Orleans is
Hmm.
like on the day to day. And
Hmm.
filming movies isn't something that New Orleans sees every single day, although there are a decent amount of TV shows and films that are
Hmm.
beginning to film out there. But the reason I bring this up is like I'm from LA. I see this
Okay.
all the time. And there's
Mhm.
always crowds there whenever something is filming. People are always just like, you can't help it. It's like, unfortunately, this is a terrible comparison, but I was gonna say it's like a car accident and you can't help
Oh
but
God,
look. Don't I didn't
sure.
mean to make that comparison. It's much better than a car accident. But when people see this happening in New Orleans, do they close off the set or do you see other people who are from New Orleans walking around?
For the our shoot, we had, I think they covered the front of the club so that you couldn't see in at all or like what was going on. So it was definitely there's definitely like, some privacy there. And I I think I can't remember if they shut down the whole street, but I don't think they did. But we were there like in the early afternoon, like pretty late into the night.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was covered so that no one could see in or out. And on that street too, is like some people will stop and say like, "Hey, what's going on?" But most of the time people were just kind of like walking by to go to another club, I feel like, but
Yeah,
I wasn't outside a lot, I was inside,
makes sense. Yeah.
like
You're
yeah.
working, you're busy.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
give Tom any critiques on his worm?
Come on, vacation, Alex. Is that the best you got?
Okay, you asked for this.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, I didn't have to. I
Really?
did not have to. That worm was amazing. It was incredible. I just like love that he was like, I want to try this. And I said, yes, let's do it. And also he was wearing a white t-shirt at the time. I thought my friends in the, my costume girlies, they were going to have some words with me because he was in a white, no one's doing the worm in New Orleans, like on Frenchman Street at a club.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but he's like, oh no, I can do it without getting the shirt dirty. And I said, amazing. And they were like, okay, thank you. Like it was
Wait,
so
he
good.
really
So
did? He didn't get it dirty at all?
I don't think he did not. He had that. I think he had the same shirt on that whole time. And he's like, no, I can stop it before we like touch the floor. And I was like, perfect. That's great. So,
Oh,
and it happened so quickly, but
yeah.
it's a really, really good worm. So I was
How many
very,
takes
very
was
proud of
it?
him. Oh my gosh. I actually don't know. That's a great question. I mean, definitely more than 5, 6 times, but nothing too crazy. It's nothing too crazy.
That's so to just keep doing the worm over and over. I remember them saying that they were inspired by different movies. Does this ring a
Yeah.
bell at all?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure. We well definitely there's a part where Emily when she's starting the dance as Poppy that she like does her like this like hand motion, and then she's like kind of doing a little like hip circle.
Yeah.
And when we were in rehearsals, I was like, Emily, what if you tried to do like the Cameron Diaz from Charlie's Angels, like the part where she's like in her room doing this? And Brett was like, yes. And that so like that was definitely influenced by that. And then there was like the kid and play moment from like old school 90s movies. Like we definitely had that like moments like that. So yeah, we like threw some things in there that they could make their own, but then we were inspired by other like iconic movie moments, which was so much fun to play with.
It's so good. At what point do you get to see the final product on screen?
When we at the New Orleans screening, when I
You were
went to
there?
that, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I was
Yeah,
there. Oh, I wish I would have met
yeah.
you. Oh,
It was
so
so
cool.
much fun. It was so cool to see it for the first time with a crowd of people, especially in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to go. I heard it was happening, and I was like, I really, really want to be there. So one of my best friends and I got to watch it together, which was so nice.
Oh, that must have been so cool for you because that was truly, while it was a short scene, that was one of the best scenes of the whole movie. And I'm
Oh
sure
my
you
god.
felt that reception from the crowd too.
It was so cool. They were screaming, which was awesome, you know. And it's like I think it's such a cool part of the film with like the next level that it sets Poppy and Alex up for.
Yeah.
And so just to like see the people who were in the audience just like screaming and clapping, I was like, oh my gosh. And I think it was also so cool. Like they used the entire dance scene. Like there was every moment that we had in rehearsal was like on camera on the big screen. And I was like, how that often doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
usually, like I feel like things get cut up and like there'll be moments here, and it was just the entire thing. So I was very very happy to see that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just they did such a good job with it too. Like they just looked like they were having so much
Yeah.
fun, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it was like for you guys to all work together. I mean, great vibes from you. And then speaking
Yeah.
with them, they were super fun to talk to. I actually went to high school with Emily, so I
Oh
knew what
my gosh.
her vibe was like. And then meeting Tom, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're both just so fun together, you
Yeah.
know? I
Yeah.
loved
They
it.
really are.
I was really curious about what it's like for a choreographer to work with people who aren't trained dancers.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean I've done a few movies and TV shows where we'll have dance scenes in them, and I think sometimes depending on people's relationships, with how comfortable they are moving their body and things like that, you're like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but with Emily and Tom, they were so open and excited, and so it made it things just flow. And like if something didn't feel good, I was like, okay, let's change it. Like it's not a
Oh,
big deal if this, we need to like change a move out for one or the other.
yeah.
On my side, I think it's really just making sure that the moves, connect with what Brett was asking or the script is asking for, and then what the actors can do so that they really can feel their best and not be like, walk away from it being like, oh my gosh, like what was that?
Right.
And so that's really important to me for sure. And then, yeah, it's just making sure that the moves feel good in their body and that they can do them and remember them and put them in so it feels really natural. And so that, that takes practice. And we didn't have a ton of rehearsals either, but I think the way that we talked through everything and how open everyone was really, really helped. So yeah, and sometimes you get on projects, you'll get like a long rehearsal period. Sometimes it's on the spot,
Mm.
movement direction. And so that can be a challenge in itself, but still very, very fun. And it changes from, film to film, which is very cool. But yeah, it was just, we had so much fun in rehearsal. Like we were laughing and just like,
Aw.
excited to be there. And that made me even more excited. So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
it's a great challenge to do. Cause like, I think oftentimes people think about choreography and they're like, okay, it's going to be like a bunch of professional dancers and
Right.
like this and this. And it's like, but like, real people dance too, like
Exactly, and
it's
not
not
well all the
just
time, mind you. But that's a funny
but
job
that's
for a choreographer to then have where you're like, "I'm so used to the 5, 6, 7, 8," and then suddenly you're like, "You have to tone it down a little bit."
yeah, it's like I'm counting the 5, 6, 7, 8, but maybe they, like aren't counting the same thing, which is
No.
totally fine. They're listening to the music or like whatever it is, or like, having a look. So I think even for me, when I film things and work on projects, like I try and like just let them, especially on the day that we're filming, it's their moment.
Aw.
But if they need me, I'm like, I'm right over here. Just let me know, call my name out, and I'll like yell out what's coming next, so
Yeah.
you don't have to cut or anything.
That's so comforting too, because I would love to have someone like that with me when I'm at the club or when I'm at the bar,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what should I do next? I was gonna say, you know what I
Um,
mean, but I don't know if you can relate to that.
I understand. I'm pretty good on the dance floor myself, but I do love, if you ever need a move, a body roll is always the move. Just like
Yes.
and I'm known for going up to people that aren't dancing, and I'll be like, body roll, let me see your body roll, and they're like, what? What do you mean? And I was like, show me, and then it just like gets people automatically in their body because they have to think like, wait, I have to body roll, and I was like, yes, and I
That's
try and
so
put a
good.
body roll in every single thing I choreograph.
Oh.
It's like my every single thing, even if it's a side body roll, which we got.
Oh my God, wait, so that's like your signature. Will we notice that in every movie that you've worked on? I'm trying to.
You might. I mean, maybe not. Definitely not the iron claw. We
Yeah,
don't do a
yeah, yeah.
body roll, but I try and get it in almost everything I do because it's just so much. It's so much fun to do. But that's a great move for the club or dancing with friends. Is a good old fashioned body roll. Let me tell you.
Oh my God, so funny to think about. That brings up a good point though, because selfishly, I loved the Iron Claw. That was actually,
Uh-huh.
I was really sad to see that it didn't get much love during award season. I think it was just the timing
Mhm.
that it came out. But
Yeah.
to me, it was truly one of my favorite movies of the year and the best performance that I've ever seen from Zac Efron. And like, I grew up with that
Agreed.
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Such a big deal to be able to watch him in that film, such a big deal for you to have been able to work with that cast.
Oh my gosh.
When you found out about that opportunity, what went through your mind?
Oh my, for the iron
For the
claw.
Iron Claw. Yeah, sorry, we're
Oh
moving
my
over here
gosh.
now that you brought it up.
Oh no, it's good. I honestly, I was um I was speechless
Yeah,
because I looked at the cast, the cast, and it was so, I was trying to say stacked and cast at the same
I
time,
get it.
but it was so stacked with like incredibly talented people, and then they're like, okay, Maya, you're gonna do it with all of the actors, and
All
I
of
said,
them.
okay, let's do it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had my friend Cody Olson was my assistant on that, and so we went and made up a line dance in my kitchen in New Orleans, and then we went to Baton Rouge and taught it to everyone, and it was that was so much fun. And but also reading the script, and how that was a pretty like heavy script and sad,
Yeah.
and that's like the last, well, hopefully people have seen it by now, but
Yeah.
like I'm not spoiling anything, but like last happy, joyful moment in the
Oh,
movie.
good point.
And that was something that, like, even watching the movie and reading the script, I'm bawling in the theaters. And I was like, oh my gosh, the dance really was the last happy moment.
Yeah.
And so, it was such a beautiful movie to be a part of. So emotional, but like those were like, that was a pinch me moment for sure for that film.
100%. I totally forgot about the fact that that was really the last happy moment of the film. It came out a little while ago now, but you bring up
Yeah.
so many good points. I remember I had to call my brother right after just to be like, I love you. We don't really say this, but you just,
Yeah, for
it really tugs on your heartstrings. But with,
sure.
I mean, that's really cool for you to be able to be a part of what tends to be happy moments in movies. You know what I mean? Like there's
Hmm.
sad
Yeah.
moments all throughout the film, there's the ups and downs, but typically the dancing scene tends to be a good one, a happy one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A happy moment. Like, I think like tense, it can be sexy, it can be all
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
that like building to something, but usually it's pretty happy, like uplifting moments in film, like when there's dance, which is great.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about the fact that when you first see this cast in their shape as these boxers, right? Not
Hmm.
wrestlers. Yeah, boxer.
Wrestlers,
Oh, wait,
good
they're
wrestlers,
wrestlers.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As wrestlers. God, I'm like, it really has been a minute. I need to go back and watch it. But I
I know
remember
it's
how
been
I feel.
yeah.
That's the difference. That's, I think, why I love movies, is because you always remember how you feel in the moment. You might not
Hmm.
remember every little piece, but I mean, like a Zac Efron and a Jeremy Allen White. Zach
Hmm.
has done theater plenty of times.
Hmm.
Jeremy, did ballet. He was a dancer for a while.
Yeah.
So they both have experience with dancing, but like the characters that
Mhm.
they're playing can't look like that. So did you have to
Exactly.
tone down their
Exactly.
dance moves?
Not really. I think they were really good at putting their character into the line dance so that it wasn't something that was like looked too perfect. And I think that sometimes with dance, with even with dancers themselves, professionals, you're like, oh my gosh, it has to be perfect and it has to look like this. But like
Yeah.
they're drunk at a wedding, right? They're like
Yeah.
celebrating. They've been drinking. Like it's supposed to be a little bit messy, but like all of the entire cast did not miss a step in that line dance. But I love seeing like how each of them, when you look at it, they make it their own, and that's what it is supposed to be. And so yeah, we didn't have to tell anyone to tone it down. It was pretty fast, like for the footwork and stuff. And so I think
Yeah.
that was something that we kind of did over and over and over with them again. And I was literally standing behind camera, moving from side to side, doing the line dance like as big as I could in case they needed me. And I also had my assistant as well, like on the other side of me, just in case I needed to look up and see what was coming next. But they were pros. They all did it
Oh,
perfectly.
who shocked you the most out of that cast?
Oh my gosh. I mean, like out of getting the line dance.
Yeah, yeah, out of their I just like I guess in seeing their dance moves.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they all were so incredible. Like, um, and I know when from our rehearsal they practiced, and I think we only had Stan and Jeremy and Harrison on our like actual rehearsal day.
Oh.
And so we sent a video for Lily and Zach to learn on their own, like for our shoot day. And so I mean I loved how Lily like picked it up and like in that dress, she's like
Yeah.
picking up the big dress and things like that. So yeah, it was, but I think they all just did incredible. But also I would say like Zach picked it up like on the spot. Like we were like doing it with him and he picked it up so
Oh
quickly.
my
So like
gosh.
that's really impressive to me, is like with all of the stuff that you have going on in the shoot, that you can come in and pick up and learn a line dance so quickly.
Yeah, it's so funny to think about because truly you look at Zac Efron and like not to assume how someone is. I forget
Yeah.
sometimes that I know him from High School Musical or The
Oh
Greatest
my gosh,
Showman.
same.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
And
He's an incredible dancer. Yeah.
yeah, it's so, but we don't ever see like a Zac Efron lifestyle. We don't know what he's actually like because he's such a movie star that we don't ever
Yeah.
see that side of him. So then these moments come back out and hearing from you, like, no, he's actually a great dancer. It reminds me, oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah, this is his
Yeah,
background.
he's a pro. Yeah, pro dance. Yes, for sure.
He knows what he's doing. To go back to people we meet on vacation, I guess
Yeah.
what shocked you the most about working with Tom and Emily?
Oh, what shocked me the most? I mean, they had such a cool connection, like when they came in, but they'd also been filming in Barcelona and Spain before,
Yeah.
so like they already had that built. And sometimes I've worked on projects where the actors are meeting the day we have dance rehearsal, and it's like,
Oh,
welcome to dance rehearsal. You are going to be learning all of this stuff, but they've still done an incredible job. But they were just like they were really friends, and in the rehearsal, just like can see that they take care of each other and we're just like so
yeah.
kind. So it was like it was just like a nice thing to walk into, because I was technically the new kid on set
Yeah.
when I joined to do the choreography. And so everyone had already had like a few weeks together, but everyone that worked on that film was so nice. And that doesn't always happen. And that just like made everything just a dream.
Yeah, I really noticed the same thing. It was like, so I did the junket for the movie, and typically
Mhm.
after a junket or while the junket's going on, everyone's coming to each other being like, "How was it? How is everyone?" And
Yeah.
sometimes you'll have something to say. Well, this person's a little harder to get to open up, or this person's just whatever, closed off maybe. But for
Mhm.
this particular movie, it was like, I feel like I'm letting you down, but I don't have much to say. They were all so great to talk to,
Yeah.
and it was just like
Yeah.
they don't feel like movie stars in the sense that they just feel like normal people,
Mhm.
right?
That have a really cool job that,
Yeah.
like an incredible job. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just so humble, and I think the way you pointed out how they were trying to make each other feel comfortable is also how they try to
Mhm.
make other people feel. You know, they never want
Mhm.
you to feel left out. So I really enjoyed that about them, and I'm glad that you also had
Yeah.
the same
Oh my
experience.
god.
So once it
Yeah.
comes out on Netflix, what's the plan? Are you watching with a bunch of
Oh
friends?
my
What's
gosh.
going on?
I think so. I was thinking about that. I was like, this is a big deal. I think I need to
Yeah.
have a little screening party at my house and just watch it with friends and like be proud of the work that I got to do with everyone and just proud of everyone that worked on the movie because, you know, it's obviously a group effort. And so, and such a like, I don't know, this was one of the coolest things I've gotten to collaborate on, especially with just like how Brett works and things like that. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like dream director and just it was
Yeah.
so cool. So I want to celebrate it. I'm gonna watch it. I keep like I can't wait for people to see the dance scene.
I know.
Hopefully people, you know, try the worm, but maybe not on the floor in New Orleans.
They're gonna try the worm. They're gonna put a blue wig on. They're gonna channel
Yeah,
that scene
why
for
not? It's
sure.
a great oh my gosh, I would love to see it. But you know, just it's making dances is like my obviously I love it so much. And so to get to see it on the screen, I'm just like probably gonna watch it a few times this weekend for sure.
Yay! She's like getting it to #1 on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, why
We
is this household rewatching this movie all the time?
It's fine. We're all gonna be doing the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to see it. Like it being even though I worked on the movie and that happened with the Iron Claw too, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. Like
Yeah.
this is like what makes people like fall in love with movies and especially like rom-com vibes coming back again and just like this one in particular. I was like, what a cool thing to be a part of. And
Truly.
you know, even though that dance scene is just like a little thing, it just makes me so happy to be part of that magic for sure.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
truly, we needed rom-coms to come back. And I feel like they've
Mhm.
slowly been coming back over the past couple of years. And I'm like, they are in
Yeah.
full effect now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they're adding
Yeah.
to it now with people we meet on vacation. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, me too.
Maya, thank you so much for coming on. I know it was super last minute, but I
Oh
appreciate
my
you
gosh,
so
of course.
much. Where can everyone
Yeah.
find you on all of your socials?
Oh, I'm at my Alexis on Instagram. That is my that's where you can find me. I'm really just an Instagram girly.
I love
So
it.
Maya Alexis on Instagram.
And that's where I feel like you post everything that you work on, right?
Yeah, everything I work on goes on there. And then my, you know, like fun, colorful outfits in life. But yeah, it's a nice mix of my work and life in New Orleans.
It's so
So
much fun. That's like my favorite types of people in the industry to follow because you actually get to know what you're like and then we also get to see your work. So it's the perfect mix.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thanks
Thanks
so
so
much for
much.
joining us, Maya.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Plus One. It was so much fun getting to go to New Orleans. So, thank you so much to Netflix for sending me out there, and to the cast, to Emily Henry for writing this book, Brett Haley for picking it up and directing this film. Let me know what you think of this movie. Did you pick up on anything that I didn't pick up on? I have so many questions. This is literally why I'm making this video, is to be like, I need to talk about this with more people. I've been very active on TikTok with book talk, but more specifically with people we meet on vacation talk. And it's been so fun seeing those comments because people are truly just like such big fans of this film and the book. And I can obviously understand why I would definitely throw myself in that category as well. So, thank you so much for listening and for watching. And if you haven't already, please give this video a like, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you're listening on an audio platform, make sure to give us 5 stars and click follow. And I'll talk to you next week. See you.
You got the golden ticket.